Tashitele, hello everybody. Oh yeah. Yeah, so as usual, we start with short breathing meditation, simply to bring ourselves in the present moment in order to prepare both our body and mind to the uh, utilizations of our time for meaning of our life, which is to engage in the practice of Dharma. Yeah, so now I take a few moments to refresh our refuge practice in Guru Buddha Dhamma Sangha while visualizing and feel the presence of all the lineage gurus, starting from one's root guru and all the lineage gurus after Guru Shakyamuni Buddha, surrounded by all the retinue of bodhisattvas, Dharma protectors, above our head in the space, witnessing our commitment towards the cultivation of Dharma, and visualize and feel all the object of refuge and merit fields are very pleased, and that itself become extensive offerings, which what we do, which we illustrate the service to Guru Buddha Dhamma Sangha, both in thoughts and action. Thoughts, full conviction and irreversible, dedication, following the Buddha's teaching, Guru's teaching, example of Guru Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Then, in action, we actually, like this very session, actually put effort to find time and try to uh, actualize full concentration to understand the Dharma and trying our very best to put it into action as an antidote into our day-to-day life to overcome all the negative emotions, all the hallucinations, and proceeding uh, steadily, step by step, toward actualizing the resultant Guru Buddha Dhamma Sangha within ourselves. So this is the best service. This is the best offering, both in thoughts and action, to our gurus and to the Buddhas and to the Bodhisattvas. So keeping that in heart and try to, strengthen, our refuge practice. So now, next few moments, try to regenerate or strengthen our altruistic intention, set the correct motivation, or strengthen the correct motivation that which you already have by taking it very serious and understanding this is the reason why we take refuge in Guru Buddha Dhamma Sangha. This is what it means in the service of Guru Buddha Dhamma Sangha. This is the what Guru want us to achieve. This is the one that what Buddha want us to achieve. This is the reason why Bodhisattvas are always out there to inspire us. This is the only reason why Dharma protectors are helping us, assisting us in our journey of path, in the path, is fulfill the ultimate wishes of numberless sentient beings. Wishes, which is to abide numberless sentient being in the state of virtue, in the state of happiness, in the state of ultimate happiness or full enlightenment. For that purpose, then I'm going to accumulate as great, as many, as vast, conditions as possible to deliver this purpose, which is for us to accumulate extensive merit, for us to bring about purifications of our limitations. And the best way to do that is, best way to do that is for us to engage in the Dharma practice, like such as learning, contemplation, and meditation. this is the best way. So for that purpose, then, yeah, uh, that is, we restructure our motivation if in case there's no altruistic intention is lively in our continuum. If those of us that who already, uh, freshly generated the bodhicitta intention, then strengthen it, make it even more intense, more focused, more, yeah. And those of us who even took the bodhisattva precepts, but then degenerated in the past, then here we take the opportunity to regain, those precepts in front of Guru Buddha Dhammas, Guru Buddha Bodhisattvas. Try to regain that, try to retake that. So now take a few moments to feel gratitude about our life, feel gratitude about uh, uh, mm, everything that that we have, and feel fortunate and feel happy. Just simply giving a reason that right, just very moment ago, you know, even though oneself being one ordinary person, just one single person, but when one start to open our heart, we can reach out to numberless sentient beings. Within one moment, within 1 second, we can reach out to numberless sentient beings. The moment we open our heart with sense of altruism, you see how amazing it is. That itself is a truly amazing quality, that we have. Giving a reason, if we know there's someone sending their best wishes to you, someone praying for your well-being, someone only want you to be happy. If you happen to know that, how happy you would be, how touched you would be, and that will naturally affect your well-being, isn't it? Knowing someone, genuinely care for you, genuinely have, kind thoughts about you. You see, and right here we are doing similarly to rest of the numberless sentient beings. The number comparing human and non-human. Human, the number in human is so little. The non-humans are, is an immeasurable number greater. And non-humans, in particularly those non-physical beings, has capability to, understand and hear and see, what we do and what we think. And right this very moment, there's numberless of those sentient beings realize that out there's someone is caring for them, someone, concerned of their well-being. So, as given a reason before, if you know someone is doing that to you, how much will that affect your well-being? Similarly, there's numberless sentient beings. Their well-beings are benefited from just one moment of single thought of loving kindness, compassion to them. Even those who don't have capability to see and understand, like many of the human beings, but then the frequency of good thoughts and prayers is unintangible, and it is dependent rising. It's definitely receivable and definitely going to affect. So without any doubt, even the rest of the human beings, they receive the benefit of your openness, your good heart. So to be able to do that, how wonderful, how great you are, how wonderful you are. In that sense, how fortunate we are, how lucky we are, how precious, to be, to have such kind of life. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we will go through the texts. Yeah, so last class we discussed about the preliminary practice, and this is on the commentary on the 7-point mind training by Sage Jibuchogi Gyaltsen, and and the preliminary topic is from the 7 point of thought transformation is on the first point. So today we will discuss on the second of the 7-point thought transformation, the second point, which is the main practice. So it is on page 90, if using the same text. The training in the true mind of awakening, the main practice. So after, you see, as one individual want to engage in the, genuine sense of practice to develop one's heart, towards enlightenment, then as a sequence, then first, you cultivate the preliminary practices. Then the main practice to be focused is the mind of the awakening mind, which is the main practice. And the awakening mind here has the wisdom aspect and the method aspect. So first, we'll discuss on the wisdom aspect of the awakening mind, then to the conventional aspect of the awakening mind. In many of the texts, uh, the conventional awakening mind discussed before, then the wisdom awakening of the mind. Right here, why the wisdom awakening of mind presented before than the conventional awakening of mind has a great reason. One of the reason is one of the reason being the Bodhisattvayana teaching itself is a teaching for the higher capable beings. Among the practitioner or called the student, um, you know, uh, generally described into two categories. One is the lesser vehicle and the the higher vehicle. So the Mahayanic teachings are, for the higher vehicle. The being was a the reason for that is because of the the commitment and the weight of the main practice. For the lesser vehicle, there's no there's no practice of the awakening mind. Even though there's a method aspect, the wisdom aspect of practice, but comparing to the altruistic awakening mind, then they do not present that aspect of the altruistic awakening mind. So so altruistic awakening mind is concerned the practice to the benefit of numberless sentient beings. As for the lesser vehicle, the practice concerned for the self-liberation. So even from the objective, compared to the higher vehicle, is a lesser. Higher vehicle is a numberless, in the number, the numberless sentient beings. A lesser vehicle is for self, one individual's liberation. As far as concerned with the path, which is the main practice, when it comes to wisdom, the wisdom is very much focused on the emptiness of self. As far as concerned with the higher vehicle, the wisdom very much focused on the emptiness of others. As far as concerned with the conventional attitude, the lesser vehicle is very much to liberate from the oceans of one's own suffering, and for the higher vehicle, the attitude that concern rest of the numberless sentient beings, freedom from the oceans of samsara. Even for the basis, the preliminary practice, the basis, which is the practice of renunciation, the lesser vehicle, the basis is the renouncing of either just the low, the renouncing of the causes that which bring the falls into three lower realms, and the purification of the three lower realms, or the renouncing the causes and conditions that which bring oneself back into the sixth realm of silent existence, and to free from the sixth realm of silent existence, and to abide oneself in the state of liberation. So from the point of basis, from the point of main practice, from the point of wisdom and method, from the point of objective, that defines the lesser and higher vehicle is not about discrimination. Say, someone is less than 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 some practitioners. It's not about that. It is individual choice. But based on what path you choose, then if you happen to choose this Mayanic path, then you are in the category of higher vehicle. In that sense, then it's regarded generally regarded the clever or higher capable practitioner, clever or higher capable practitioner. Hmm. 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 So that's one of the reasons. So because of the disciple, being the clever or higher capable practitioner, then uh, presenting the wisdom as a main path before then the conventional attitude, the main method aspect of the path. It has a relevant to do so because of the practitioner having the capability to apprehend, the absolute truth, which require a great wisdom to do so. So that is one of the reasons. The another reason is since the disciple, uh, let's say, so the another reason is that there are uh, disciples and practitioners who either directly enter into Mayanic path, or there are practitioners who first enter into the lesser vehicle path, then eventually enter into the higher vehicle path. So there are two. There are two ways, and most of the majority of the follower of the higher vehicle, being their capability as a higher wisdom, majority choose to follow directly into the Mayanic path, directly into the Mayanic path. And among those who follow directly into the Mayanic path, mm, there are many, if not majority, but there are many who actualize wisdom of emptiness even before they actualize the path of accumulation, before they actualize the realization in a bodhicitta. So that is one of the another reason. Those who follow from the lesser vehicle, then the first defining characteristic entering into the Mayanic path is very much the first moment when they actualize the altruistic mind, the bodhicitta, conventional bodhicitta mind. That defines. As far as concerned with the smarter or the greater wisdom disciples, since they are definite in entering into the Mayanic path directly, even before actualizing the path of accumulation, even before they actualize the bodhicitta, their wisdom is already altruistic wisdom. Their wisdom is already altruistic wisdom, because the quicker they actualize the wisdom, that speed up their entrance, to the path of accumulation. So because of that, we often hear from His Holiness the Dalai Lama that His Holiness has an interest in emptiness and start to practice to develop emptiness wisdom even before he started to have interest in bodhicitta, the conventional altruism, and he started to extensively, engage in the developing of the conventional altruism, and that one way of understanding what his Dalai Lama is mentioning is, that like himself, like a direct, entrance to the Mayani path, and who is in the category of higher capable beings, wisdom ability, being so that developing wisdom realizing emptiness first helps the practitioner to enter into the entry to the mining path most efficiently and most effectively, because of that. So here too, in this text, the reason for presenting the ultimate wisdom before then the conventional wisdom is, for these different reasons, because of that. Okay. So anyway, the presentation is so clear and so structured, without needed to add any further explanations, directly take as our meditational guide, or directly taking as our day-to-day, application of the emptiness understanding. The way how we present here is something like that. So therefore, it's very straightforward and very clear teaching on emptiness here. The second point, the training in the true mind of awakening, is the main practice. Ultimate wisdom and conventional, bodhicitta. It has a two part: the ultimate mind and the conventional mind. Ultimate mind, emptiness wisdom; conventional mind, bodhicitta mind. Given the sequence in which meditative equipoise and post-meditation stage arise within the single person, these two minds are presented here in the following order. The sequence of, one individual person's complete guide, complete stages of the guide, on the path in the cultivation of wisdom and emptiness. And that, categorized into two sections. One is how to actualize the wisdom realizing emptiness, or how to actualize wisdom understanding of emptiness in our meditation session. How to utilize, emptiness in our meditation session, and how to utilize the emptiness understanding in our post-meditation session. First, to train in the ultimate awakening mind, there are two parts: the actual meditation session and subsequent period practice. So first is the training in the ultimate awakening mind, the actual meditation session. So it's guiding us, how to, progress through the meditation. The meditation session divided into three preparatory practice, the main practice, and the concluding practice. So these three things should come together in order to have a complete, aspect of meditation for the successful result of meditation. So preparatory. So what we have discussed before, as far as when we talk about preparatory, has two aspects, combination of two aspects. One is external preparatory practice, and one is internal preparatory practice. And that can be interpreted within the 6 preparatory practice. And another preparatory practice is the reflection on the 4 preparatory meditation objects, as we discussed before, reflecting on precessional rebirth, death and impermanent, falls of samsara, karmic law, cause and effect. So these are a very important factor to lead us into a successful, the main practice, main meditation. Then the importance of conclusion at the end, during the main practice, which lead by proper preparatory practices, bring us in the accumulation of extensive merits, extensive developments, and in order to continue, in order not to waste that effort, or in order to able to dedicate even more purposeful way, then the end, dedicating in altruism, is regarded is one of very important part of the practice. So in another way, right motivation at the beginning, then the correct object or the theme of the practice as a main practice, then correct dedication or the right dedication at the end. As for preparation, undertake the 7 limb practices inside your chamber of divinities. Make supplication to meditation deities and your teacher, and having seated yourself comfortably on your meditation cushion, count your respiration, exhalation, and inhalation 21 times. So the outer aspect of so anyway, the preparatory practice is very much the 7 limb practices, and that has the outer aspect and the inner aspect. If there is a convenient, if there's a possible, then conduct the meditation in a very blessed place. Like such as holy places, like retreat huts and the caves that which have practiced by realized beings before. Then if not, then at least in your house, in your altar room, where there's a reciting of holy objects which are blessed, etc. Or at least through your preparatory practices, you blessed wherever you do the meditation. Blessed. Bless your retreat huts, bless your room, bless your cushion, wherever you do meditation. You can bless either remembering the Guru Shakyamuni Buddha's event that took place under the Bodhi tree. Creating the Vajra cushion, indestructible Vajra cushion, and seated with the positive atmosphere within your being for the purpose of actualizing enlightenment, on that very cushion, on that very land, and that itself alone can able to bless the room, bless the cushion. Then if if you do more than that, then sit cross leg, then visualize that as a indestructible Vajra seat, Vajra foundation, and that bring about the establishment of the indestructible Vajra ground. And on top of that, you can touch, you can use your right hand like in a posture of like this. So if you touch the ground like that, this is the ground, this is the cushion, touch like that, the mudra of subduing, mudra of subduing any disturbances in relation to element and any inner outer secret disturbances to the completion of your retreat, to the completion of your session. So you touch, your to the ground or to the cushion, just simply remembering the events of the Buddha. Then, even of the Buddha sitting under the Buddha tree, then you just simply touch like that. That also can be able to symbolize the blessing. On top of that, then if you want to add, you can also recite Om Vajra Bhumi Ahom, Om, like in the mandala offering, when you create the Vajra base, when you want to offer mandala. Similar way, while you're touching your cushion, you sit there, Om Vajra Bhumi Ahom. You can also do that. Then, if that, or otherwise, just simply, reciting even Om Vajra Ahom, Om Vajra Ahom, you can also recite like that. Then, of course, the one of the easiest mantra that everybody knows, Om Ahom, there's no meaning no Dharma meaning that which do not contain within the syllable Om Ahom. So when you touch the ground, then you just simply recite Om Ahom, it bless everything. So like that. Then if you have the opportunity, then of course you create altar, making offerings, etc. Like that. If not, then in your heart you visualize the merit field. Then in front of the merit field, then you start the rest of the preparatory practice, like such as making offering. And again, if you have physical altar, if you're able to manage to make a physical offerings, then you try to arrange as many offerings as possible, in your best ability, at least water or just flour like that. Then, if not, then at least from your heart you make extensive offerings. Then after that, then do the third limb of practice of purification. Here that individual going to actualize wisdom and blessings. So therefore, our container should be clean. The container of the mind, container of the mind, container that yourself, the being, has to be receptacle or clean when the nectar of blessings, when the nectar of wisdom, pour, under our, into our continuum. So in order to do that, then, first do purification practice, in whatever purification practice that, at least just a few rounds of Vajrasattva mantra recitations or any form of visualizations or purification practices, whatever it is, whatever that you can manage. Then, in order to have a sustainable, motivated session or meditation, then we need a lot of inspiration in our heart. Feel great inspired, so that with that heart, if you engage in a meditation, then meditation becomes very solid. and also the energy of our being will be connected with the divine beings, holy beings like gurus and Buddhas, bodhisattvas like that. So for that reason, then the fourth limb of rejoicement, take a moment to rejoice, Buddha's merit, Guru's merits, Bodhisattva's merits. If you can remember some of the very heart-touching stories, inspiring stories of gurus, inspiring stories of Bodhisattvas, to recall and rejoice in their vast merits and vast practices, successful their realizations, in particularly those of human gurus that in particular your gurus, your spiritual gurus, and those of the living practitioners that who obtain high realization path while they're carrying the similar body like us, on the similar basis as ordinary human body, human being, but then through dedicated practice, they have actualized all the paths. There are so many examples. So and so through engaging in the limbs of rejoicement from the seven limb practice is extremely important. Uh, then make the limbs of requesting, mm, 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 to remain, remain among us, those blessings and holy beings. You see, you know, if the guru, Buddha, Bodhisattva, they only inspire us now and they don't inspire us later, or there's no moment of guru, Buddha, Bodhisattvas that they don't inspire us. But then if we don't create the cause, the dependent cause, then um, you know, uh, we have an obstacle of get inspired because of no conditional cause that we created. So in order to always never to be separated, from the inspiration of guru, from the instructions, guides, along the path by the gurus and Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, and the help by the Dharma protectors along the path, we won't able to steadily travel through uh, the path. So for that reason, then the next two limbs of practice, requesting to remain among us, then never to cease into nirvana, or never to cease into the parinirvana. Or in another word, never to separate being within you, guru, Buddha, Bodhisattvas, and Dharma protectors, their blessings, their uh, protection, among us, never to be interrupted. For that reason, then you request, never to depart from you, and always remain and turn the wheel of Dharma, turn the wheel of Dharma. You see, so those limbs, so do those limbs. Then the limbs of dedication, then you at the end of the session, when you conclude the session, then the limbs of the dedication, you do that, dedicate in bodhicitta and dedicate in still in emptiness. So like that. So this is one of the way of actualizing the preparatory practice. Then on top of this, then before actual meditation on emptiness, then try to reflect on the 4 points as of preparatory teaching that I discussed before. So and all these practices, you see, if we realize that our mind is stirred our mind is very disturbed and busy, unable to calm ourselves, then the suggestion of the, focusing on the breathing, the breathing exercise, inhalation, exhalation, 21 times. So from the very starting, even before we start the preparation, you can start with that, to calm and bring ourselves in the present moment. Then at right before actual meditation on emptiness, then try to do another round, in order to um, uh, make your mind serviceable, uh, you know, serviceable to the dedicated object of your meditation. So, when we choose object of meditation here, it's emptiness. We need immense of focus, immense of concentration. You see, so earlier during the preparatory practice, our mind, engaged in many activities of practices. So, so all are virtue, but then for the successful meditation on the chosen object, you know, those earlier divided mind, uh, bring some limitations to gaining, full strength of concentration to the success of the meditation. So for that reason, then right just before the actual meditation, doing another round of the breathing exercise is regarded beneficial. So here saying 21 times, uh, it's a period of 21 times. Some people they do count. You see, they count. Um, and for some practitioner, at the beginning it works. The counting may give some help. For some practitioner, it may be disturbance. If you count again, another concentration is divided. You see, so just roughly, in the durations of about 21 seconds, or 21, or about a minute or whatever, then you just do the breathing exercise. Can be helpful, can be beneficial. With this practice, you enable your body, speech, and mind to become fit vessel for meditative concentration. Mm. Then generate the uh, precursor, uh, the conventional awakening mind, accompanied by the beneficial quality of meditative stabilization. So then after that, so here it's talking about the importance of the motivation. Mm, mm, uh, mm, you see, the motivation of bodhicitta. Here we are talking about Mahayanic teaching, uh, Bodhisattvayana teaching. So therefore, the motivation for any practice must have altruistic motivation, the conventional bodhicitta. So it's talking about the importance of that. Uh, then, in order to gain the stable concentration to the meditation, then it is also beneficial to reflect on the benefit of concentration. Benefit of concentration. So that will also help. Um, you know, like in Lamrim, taught about the before engaging into concentration training, like Shamatha training, in order to overcome the faults to the concentrations, then you you recognize those faults, and you see the disadvantage. You see the faults of these faults. You see the disadvantage of these faults. So in that way, then during the meditation, whenever such faults arises, it become easier to overcome. You see, so from the causal stage, before the meditation, before arising or occurring of the false, that you already, due to the seeing the limitation and the faults of this, faults for meditation, already helps to reduce the occurring of the faults. That's one thing. Another way of overcoming the faults is, uh, uh, having a very, what do you call it, the high strength of motivation to the concentration. So when you have a high strength of motivation to the concentration, then the concentration become, more successful. You see, in order to do that, then you you know you reflect on the advantage and the benefit of concentration. You see, so an example for emptiness, without developing concentration on emptiness, we cannot develop vipassana. We cannot develop the special insight. If we are unable to develop special insight, we cannot progress. We cannot progress along the 10 bhumis. From the path of seeing onward, the way to develop the ground or the path, way to gradually progress in the 10 bhumis, is through the practice of vipassana, and through the practice of special insight. And the special insight only can able to achieve if we have shamatha mind on emptiness, which is the concentration mind on emptiness. You see, so if we want to become Buddha, we have to travel through the 10 bhumis. If we want to travel to the 10 bhumis, we need a special insight or the vipassana. If we need vipassana and a special insight, we must develop shamatha. Shamatha, the object of shamatha has to be emptiness. Shamatha on emptiness. You see, so therefore, then it is necessary for us, even from the very beginning now, when we choose the main practice, even as a beginner, first thing, we without distracted by this and that practices, directly choose the one of the most important practice, one of the most essential practice. Even though it is the hardest, but choose the hardest one. From the very beginning. When we train in the path, which is to develop concentration or develop shamatha on emptiness. So this is what it's talking about. So during the main session, given that all of these mind training practices adhere to the tradition of simultaneous engagement, you should simultaneously meditate on the emptiness of all phenomena, including of your own self and the self of others. Although this is true, during the preparatory stage, you must relate to this phenomena in a gradual manner, enumerating each phenomena by means of pristine cognition of discriminative awareness. Usually, you see, taught the importance of the simultaneous, meditation on self-lessons of person and self-lessons of phenomena, or the emptiness of self and emptiness of phenomena. So, when this is usually presented, but for a very beginner, even though just simply choosing the higher vehicle path, like a Lojong teaching, is already you are in the category of higher wisdom. But since first time cultivating emptiness, we are still beginner. We are still in the preparatory stage. So as a someone in the preparatory stage, as a beginner, then it is specific advice, specific teaching for us to first, for us to train in a gradual manner rather than simultaneous way, because the simultaneous, it is confusing. Not only confusing, what say, it won't be effective. You see, it won't be effective. So um, the simultaneous cultivation is someone already gained certain stability, both in understanding and the contemplation and meditation on emptiness. Then, in order to train, in the utilizations of emptiness wisdom in the vipassana or special insight, then meditating simultaneously, both in the object emptiness of the self and emptiness of phenomena. So that is effective. But at the beginning, then you take a certain degree of time until that you gain confident in the understanding of emptiness of self. So first you meditate on the emptiness of self. Mhm. Uh, until you gain certain confidence, stable understanding, correct and stable finding of uh, no intrinsic self. You see, so first put effort and give time to find the lacking of intrinsic self. Rather than changing to the object of excursion of self, like such as on form and aggregates and the rest of the phenomena. You see, so this is what it means. And then once you understood clearly what exactly means by the non-intrinsic existence of self on the self identity, then that reason, that that technique of finding to the other object, which is could be your form, could be rest of the aggregates, and could be rest of the other phenomena. You know, uh, mm, uh, and mm, yes, so like that. So in another word, when uh, you know when you are advanced in the emptiness meditation, then there's a teaching taught uh, uh, that there's a great advantage of meditating on diverse object of meditation. Uh, uh, like such as using even not only the object but also diverse subject of meditation on emptiness, like such as like 20 emptiness, like such as 16 emptiness, like such as 4 emptiness, like such as 2 emptiness, so both subject and object you can bring into diversity, and uh, that helps to mm, uh, that helps in the effectiveness of bringing emptiness wisdom into a achieving the purpose of vipassana, achieving the purpose of special insight. So like that. So, but someone who is not up to that, then it is worthwhile and it is recommended and it is special instruction by the experienced and realized gurus is for us to give a great time uh, to discover the emptiness of self. You see, so So if we are taking into meditation, first certain portion of time, give in understanding of what really is lack of inherent self, what really is lack of intrinsic self. Through understanding of the the through understanding of the clear characteristic of the negation, and finding the lacking of that negation within the object of your on the object you're finding, which is the self. Once you gain the wisdom of not finding inherent I, or not finding intrinsic I, that confident, that understanding, that in other words, the wisdom that you gain, the confirmation that you actualize confidently, from your analysis, from your understanding, either dependent on the scripture, or either dependent on the recalling of the understanding, you come to a point that, yes, definitely, there's no intrinsic I, there's no inherent I. So that wisdom, then now you take as the object of your analytical meditation. You see, now you bring that understanding in your activities, in your activities of thought, in your activities of your aggregates, when you're being engaging with the others, engaging with the rest of the phenomena. Whenever such activities are performed, then analyzing the analyzing while there is existence of activity, and while there's existence of activity, not finding both subject and object, the way how initially perceived as an inherent, as an intrinsic. You see, it's like a dream-like. It's like illusional-like. You see, there is activity going on, yet you cannot find the activity. You cannot find the subject and the object, including their interaction, from its own side. You come to a conclusion of total not finding of even a substantial existence, from any part, both subject and object, or even in between, the interaction, the activities, as exactly like in the dream. In the dream, you dream of having your favorite food, and you feel happy, you feel joy, and if you have the ability to understand that this is a dream, then you feel the joy of having your favorite food, but yet you cannot find the favorite food. The way how the dreamer apprehend, the way how the dreamer experience, there's not even a substantial, there's not even a one single substance from the dreamer side, there's not even a slightest substantial inherent existence on the favorite food, not on the place wherever it is, or even in the in between. Even in the in between, you cannot find, uh, you know, uh, even in the slightest form of substantial that you can able to uh, grab, that you can able to define. This is the base uh, where I am experiencing the joy of having my favorite meal. You see. So so in our day-to-day life, when we sit, eat, walk, talk, whatever we do, bringing the wisdom of finding no intrinsic self into those activities. So that is called contemplation. You see. Bringing the wisdom of learning into a meditation or contemplation. You see. You talk to somebody, but then you are now contemplating whether that conversation, uh, you know, go alliance with the wisdom that you gain from your learning about the truth, or it goes opposite, it goes against that. And since you are using the effect of the learning which is in the wisdom when you are communicating with others, can able to confirm to yourself that the wisdom way of apprehending is the correct way, and without the wisdom, just simply apprehending how usually it appears, how usually it experiences, is not the truth. It's not the reality. You see, if during the activity, if we are unable to convince, the wisdom into those activities, then we need to do deeper analysis, of using the same understanding that you gain from learning on emptiness. Now, do the second round of finding whether there is whether the experience of activity exists the way how you first apprehend. And the first way of apprehending, the first our intrinsic way of apprehending is there's an intrinsic existence. Our usual way of, our natural way of apprehending things is, apprehending as there's intrinsic existence, there's inherent existence, there's a true existence. You see, and the simply way of the way of analyzing is simply checking, simply reconfirming whether the event exists exactly the way how you first apprehend, and not finding contradictory to the way of the first apprehension, is a finding of the wisdom, finding of the truth, actualizing of the wisdom of emptiness. You see. So throughout our activities, throughout our thoughts, whatever thought arises, like such as anger, attachment arises, so immediately we have to bring our wisdom that we learn what really emptiness is. We bring into a tool of finding it is reality. So after matching the finding of analysis and the finding of the learning match together, and by then, the individual gain the wisdom of analysis, and that wisdom of analysis carry very firm, confident, clear confirmation of reality, or that confident, that that confident of the wisdom from the analysis bring as object of your meditation. Object of your meditation. On that object of meditation is very much object of your meditation of concentration. So where you develop the concentration, where you develop the actual shamatha on emptiness is using the object of meditation, using the wisdom of contemplation as an object of your meditation. And there you develop the single-pointed concentration on emptiness mind. Either it is emptiness of self, or either emptiness of phenomena. You see, in here, we're talking about first emptiness of self. You see. So now when we come to the point of really developing concentration on emptiness, we are very much already done, we are not very much, we are already done our correct study on emptiness, our correct analysis on emptiness. There's no faults left to the finding of the absolute truth or the emptiness. The time when we start to meditate, we already come to a correct wisdom of what is emptiness. You see. Otherwise, when we start to meditate, when we start to train concentration on emptiness, if we train concentration on the wrong wisdom, entire our journey of meditation is wasted. We won't gain the correct wisdom. We will rather gain a false wisdom. Then there's no point in meditation. You see. So this is one of the reason that before we do the shamatha or concentration on the emptiness, first we have to have the correct wisdom on emptiness, which is the object of meditation. In other words, we need the correct object of meditation in order to develop shamatha on emptiness. Yeah. So like it's quite a journey, isn't it? Yeah. So anyway, you see, again in the Lamrim teachings or other teachings, talks about when we develop the concentration, we develop on the mental image, not the external image. So when it comes to the developing shamatha or developing concentration on emptiness, here the mental picture is the understanding on emptiness, through the contemplation. That mental image, that mental understanding, or that wisdom is the object of your meditation. You see, so so first, we have to have the correct understanding of what really means by emptiness of self. The starting point. So here, the emptiness of self means empty, the self which is not being intrinsic self. That means emptiness of self. That means selflessness. And this intrinsic, is similar meaning to inherent existence, similar meaning to true existence, similar meaning to dualistic existence, and which all these dualistic inherent, this carry the characteristic of permanent, independent existence. What's say non-dependent, yeah. Tetap single, non-dependent existent, then independent existent, you see. So carry the characteristic of permanent, independent, single, non-dependent. So if it's true existence, has to have all these characteristics. If it's intrinsic existence, has to have all these characteristics. If it is dualistic existence, it has to have all these characteristics. Here, the intrinsic existence, as the negation to the Pasangika Madhyamika school, the highest Madhyamika school, based on the Pasangika Madhyamika school, it means the intrinsic existence that which carry the false, which carry the characteristic of the negation of all the earlier philosophical schools. So therefore, when we learn about am I selfless? Do my nature is free of intrinsic existence or not? You do that. You start with the study. So finding of the emptiness of self is, negating, each and every characteristic of the negations. So we need to know. We need to know what are the negations and what are the characteristics of the negation. So it's like peeling layer by layer, grows to the subtle, of it is dirt. Like washing from the very gross dirt to the very subtle dirt. Then you reach to a clear position, isn't it? Similar way. This is the way. This is what means study. Study emptiness of self. In the scripture, yes, these are the things that point out. But now the study case has to be you, I, me, the identity that we carry. You see, so as like the teaching here, first we have to be sure of, we have a well understanding on the self, well contemplation on the self, well meditated on the self. Then you move on to the other objects. Mm. So, am I intrinsic? Of course, it's not. If I am intrinsic, then I has to be exist without dependent on any other things. That's not true, isn't it? Me came into existence dependent on my parents, and if we go deeper understanding, dependent on my continuums of the past. If you go even more deeper than that, dependent on my past karma, even the basis, every single features of me, everything is byproduct of so many factors. How, since that is the fact, how possible to be intrinsic? How possible to be intrinsic? Intrinsic means non-dependent on that, just like boom, pop up. Not just boom, pop up, but ever pop up, ever existent. you know, uh, Natural existent. You see, if it's a natural existent, then here the intrinsic natural existent meaning is not dependent on cause and conditions. Not just against the philosophical understanding of this conventional functioning reality of uh, of a person, but it also against the common sense, isn't it? It also against the common sense. Mm. Then if me or I, my identity, or who am I, is intrinsically existent, then has to be existent, uh, you know, uh, uh, in by its own alone, and that is not true, isn't it? That is not possible. If we start with the title, the label, like here, the Zopa, uh, you know, it comes in a package uh, of its basis, then only this label suits to you, or this label is labeled onto you, isn't it? If if only the physical body is there, this label may not be qualified to label onto this person. Uh, if certain limbs are missing, or a certain cause and conditions are missing, this label may not uh, uh, relevant to label to this person. You see, more than that, one of the main basis of this person is a continuum. And continuum is not singular. Continuum has numberless, previous continuum, numberless present continuum, numberless future continuum. You see, even the physical aggregate, there's numberless atoms. You see, so it's not singular at all. Then, if I or me is intrinsic existent, then it has to be permanent existent. Momentarily changes. How can it be permanent? It was not permanent before. It is not permanent now. It will be not permanent future. It's not possible, isn't it? More than that, if I is intrinsic existent, then it has to be inherent existent. If it's inherent existence, then it has to be all the false that I have said before has to be in the has to establish it, and all those false can only able to establish as a false if I is inherent existence. If I is true existence, similar way. You know, even you assert I as existing, you know, in a dualistic manner. But as long as it's a true existence, all the, like the Southern thinkers, no, the Chittamata's way of, apprehending the I as a lacking of dualistic existence, but still assert as a true existence, then again, rest of the other false will come into present. Won't able to negate. And logically, in a common sense, all comes into false to establish, existence of me, you see. So therefore, I do not exist, intrinsically, you see. So now, this is like a general way of getting to find the lack of, intrinsic existence or emptiness of self. If we take further excursion on that, further analysis on that, further study on that, then you study more kind of obvious way, getting away from the, subtle philosophical kind of thinking, but just simply, doing the study on the very gross basis, like you analyze, you study, do I exist within my aggregates? Do I exist? Do Zopa exist? Or do whoever you are, you check on yourself, do I exist within my aggregates? So we have 5 aggregates, isn't it? So am I exist within my form? If I exist, do I exist within my feeling? Do I exist within my consciousness? You may say, yes, I do exist within my form, my feeling, my consciousness. And does that exist the same way? How possible to exist the same way? Because the bases are different. One is consciousness, one is feeling, one is physical body. Then, if I exist on the physical form and on the consciousness, then when physical form decay and consciousness still remain, half of you is like kind of disease and half of you still remain. Do I have to prove that way? Then from that onward, you only exist half. Because physical body is gone. Your half basis is gone, means the imputation on that basis is also gone. So so since there's a different basis, and the imputation cannot be same, the name cannot be same, because even a slightly more common sense way, the name has to be given to make it relevant to pronounce, isn't it? So the name I given on the physical body and the I given on the basis of the mind, the basis is totally different. One is tangible, another one is physicalless, intangible. So you have to find a very difficult, if you try to differentiate, it is impossible to differentiate. Uh, uh, you know, uh, uh, the way how the name be qualified to given, yet it exists in a total different basis. Yet it is the same person. So in any way, short, you cannot find on any of your okay. You see, so okay, just give I just give a example. So you check within your aggregates, you cannot find. Then you check overall in your aggregates, you cannot find. Maybe not one by one, but on the basis of all the aggregates. You see, there also you cannot find your intrinsic nature. You see, then now the third thing is without. You cannot find in others. You cannot find in other objects. You cannot find in other person, isn't it? You see, so the real truth about who I am and this title of me, my identity, it just simply exists in the name. Simply is a labeling only. You see, and that lacking of intrinsic I is the real thing. And that is the reason that I do exist. Even though I do not exist, but I do exist. Even though I do not exist intrinsically, but I do exist interdependently. Even though I do not exist inherently, but I do exist interdependently. Even though I do not exist substantially, but I do exist interdependently. Even though I do not exist dualistically, but I do exist interdependently. Even though I do not exist permanently, independently, singularly, but I do exist interdependently. And I do exist interdependently because I do exist interdependent on the labeling of the concept, labeling of the mind. Therefore, I do exist mainly in the name that which is dependent by the imputation by the mind. You see, so therefore, simply exists in the name. Because of the dependently actualized me, in that dependent characteristic, there is an impermanent characteristic there. There is a dependent on cause and conditional characteristics there. Dependent on the correct basis is on the there. Dependent on the labeling is there. Depending on the correct wisdom, understanding to designate to the correct object is there. Because of that, I definitely exist. Because of that, because all these characteristics, I have the capability to label myself as a Buddha when I have all the interdependent correct basis to label me as a Buddha. And right now, I have no correct basis to label me as a Buddha because I don't have interdependent correct basis to label that. Because right now, I have complete interdependent causes and condition basis where I'm qualified to label as a samsaric Tenzin Zopa. Samsaric suffering Tenzin Zopa. Because that has the valid basis and that has the valid perception to correctly designate to the interdependent existent, both subject and object. Therefore, I exist as a miserable person now, and I also have the full capability to be free from all this misery if I start to gather all the correct conditions. And all this is possible because of I'm lacking of intrinsic existence. If my nature, if my being is in the nature of intrinsic existing, all this is not possible. As mentioned before, then it has to have the characteristic of permanent also, isn't it? You see, so this is just a simple idea, like like when you look into the like just recently, His Holiness Dalai Lama giving the teaching on the Nagarjuna's precious garland. They're giving a few quotes about oneself, analyzing, self lacking of, intrinsic existent, and self exists only merely in the name, given that self do not exist within and without, even in the elements, given so many teachings, you can refer to that, and you can refer to the Lama Tsongkhapa's teaching on emptiness. Even you just refer to the Lamrim, the last chapter of the wisdom, there you can able to find a very extensive, elaborated, ideas, how to, the way to find the selflessness of the person, or the emptiness of self, like that, right? So yeah, so okay, so anyway, so the coming week is the homework. Homework is to find no self, to find emptiness of self. At least with these simple ideas, even you didn't get a chance to go into these extensive philosophical understandings, never mind. Just whatever simple idea that which is a summary of all these different ideas, different understanding, which is so easy to remember, and just try to analyze, analyze until, like what His Holiness Dalai Lama says, that when he get out from the room and he will start to walk within the garden, he can feel that he's walking, but as if like he's walking separate from your aggregates. You see, right this very moment, when we walk, as if like whole your body is like you're walking. When your body moves, you regard I'm moving, isn't it? When your body is sick, say I'm sick. You see, when your basis of your identity get unwell, you say I am sick. When your basis get some kind of sensual pleasure, you say I'm happy. Which is total wrong apprehension. We are saying wrong all the time. Actually it's not. So but after you meditate again and again, you start to have a sense of freedom. The benefit of meditating on emptiness of self is you can really stay above this ordinary, very difficult, physical aggregates and mental aggregates. You see, as if like you are floating above them. You are not in them, or you're not them. You see, right now is like me is like in every single the basis of yours, as if like you is a me. It's like whenever any of these bases get hurt, they say I'm hurt. You see, so that's why there's so much misery. So when we have a clearer and clearer understanding of the truth of the self, and on top of that, if we gain shamatha, if we gain concentration on emptiness of self, then that's the time that we can experience freedom from the physical suffering, mental sufferings, even while we are carrying this contaminated body. you can stay inseparable from, you can stay separated from them. You see, and this is the meditators do that. You see, and when we talk about shamatha concentration, it is tough in one way, but in another way, it's not something we need to wait eons of lifetime to develop it. It's something that we can develop if you put effort and have a conducive condition within short period of time can develop this concentration. But even just in the manner of understanding the emptiness of self, already feel you are uplifted. You already start to feel some degree of liberation from this very disturbing emotion and disturbing environment and physical body. It's like that you start to experience release from so many different destructive chain. You see, so like that. So anyway, okay, I will stop here. Yeah. And also, maybe you can read the section on the emptiness section here. Only about one page only. It's about one page. The ultimate awakening mind. That section, you read it very, very clear. And this one, if we can take into our daily, meditation and post-meditation guideline, just this alone, really brings so much meaning to our practice, and really, we can start to feel that we can stay away from many problems, physical and mental and difficulties like that. So then, when next session we can go through, some practical explanations like that. Okay. So thank you very much. Yeah. So we do short dedication. So I already took a lot of your extra time. So we dedicate, like the Bodhisattva Charisi, Bodhisattva Samanabhadra, whenever they accumulate merit, how they dedicate, which bring benefit to rest of the numberless sentient beings. Here we too dedicate just like that. Jabe bawo jida jamada kundo sambo de ande ji deda kunji chisu talo jawa deda tamjero to to so shebe jawa tamjero ngo ga chu ngo daji jebe sawa de sambo cheje rabdo ngo. We also specifically dedicate this merit to be the cause to overcome all these pandemic crises around the world, and each and every one of yourself, your family members, and rest of the humanity, gain the protection from this pandemic crisis and all the other, samsaric sufferings. Also dedicate this collective merit for the complete cause for the long life and good health and fulfillment of all the aspirations of all the peacemakers, good people like Sonata Lama, Jebje Lama Sopa Rinpoche, and each and every one of yourself. May this collective merit be complete cause for those people. There's a lot of people requesting prayers. Some pass away, some are sick. I have received many names, and some of you also have people request your prayers, and you may know people need prayers. So here we take opportunity to dedicate our collective merit for them to actualize whatever their wishes they may be. Yeah, in short, then may be able to actualize the wisdom of emptiness as soon as possible. May we have all the conditions, like such as past merits, to have that wisdom and gain steady shamatha on emptiness, then gain the special insight on emptiness, and we are able to surpass all the, we are able to progress on all the 5 paths and 10 grounds and actualize Buddhahood for the benefit of numberless sentient beings. Thank you very, very much, and please take good care and have a meaningful week until we see next time. And take care. Okay, and sorry for the extra time. Okay, bye bye. Thank you.